Hello accounts people, time to have a look at activity-based costing, which is a development of absorption costing, but we can actually use it in conjunction with absorption costing in the real world, although not likely in a combined exam question. So what we can actually do in the real world is absorb some overheads on a volume base or machine or labour hours base as normal. However, some we might want to incorporate into our cost code on an ABC basis. And this is because every business is different, the cost structure is different, what we make is different, what we supply is different. It's extra tools, extra abilities to charge indirect costs and overheads to a product or batch on a fair manner. Service all production industries, hence the wooliness and the variety of techniques. Appropriate accounting treatment for each batch, product or job is what we actually want. We want to know the true cost. It's most likely to be seen where a company makes lots of similar products or supplies lots of similar items. However, labour hours or machine hours isn't a fair way to charge the overheads to a job. So this would quite often be where we make a small product, or it could be a bus company with a short run or a long run. Or in the 1980s, when I worked in the printing industry, a batch of 250 business cards would actually run through a machine once it was set up in about a minute. We'd then have to guillotine them, chop them up and pack them up, but that's the same as everything else. 10,000 letterheads would take 2 to 3 hours to run through a machine. If we only use the machine hours to attract or absorb the overheads, the letterheads would have a phenomenal amount of overheads, and yet they've been put on a machine and nobody's even probably watched it for 2 hours. They've just left it to run by itself. So let's have a look at some calculations. So here we've got our activities along the top, and these are costs and the number of times we do it per month. So our pre-service check, our first step or first activity, costs us £1,000 to do it 500 times a month. That's £2 each. And £2,000 to do our setup cost. However, it's also £500 times a month. That's £4 per activity. Machine hours, so we built in a direct cost here as well. That's just £10 per machine hour. Clean and check, £4 per clean and check, and £4 also per inspection. Build it into the job costs then. So job number one, they're two similar jobs, except that one seems to be a bit bigger because it takes 10 hours machining instead of 4, and the labour cost goes up appropriately with it. We've built in the other direct costs. We're just going to add in the activity costs. One lot then, so one pre-service check at a cost of £2. One setup at a cost of £4. 4 hours machining at £10. And 2 lots of 4 for clean and check, and 1 lot of 4 for inspection. Total job cost, batch cost, £458. Job number 2 then, similar job. It's actually got the same cost to start off with. Those are both the same. However, because this is 10 hours, it will be 100, 10 times 10. And then, but only 1 clean and check. And the same inspection. Working out at 614. So, why do we get it so different? Well, we know the direct cost will vary, but this is what the question is. Is it appropriate to charge 2.5 if we're using machine hours, or 2 times more overheads to job 2 if we're using the labour cost? Because it only uses the same overheads or indirect cost as number 1, or slightly more. Hence the conundrum. This gives us an alternative way of charging our indirect costs to our jobs, batches and runs.